Good afternoon. I'm Tony Thurmond. I have the honor of serving as your elected state superintendent of California schools, and I'm honored that you would join me for this virtual town hall. This is an opportunity to provide you with a few updates about California schools and to take a few of your questions as we focus on what we do for our 6 million students going forward. As you know, we are experiencing an uncharted territory-like pandemic, a worldwide health crisis that makes it unsafe for our students to be at school and that threatens our health in many aspects. What is true, this is a challenge unlike we've never faced before. But as it relates to the education of California students, we must ensure that all of our students get a great education. As you know, we have entered into essentially the 4th week of our school campuses being closed to California kids so that we can honor the importance of social distancing that keeps our kids safe. But while our school campuses are closed to students, school is not out for this school year in California. We have been working with our students through distance learning. And by distance learning, I simply mean where the teacher and the student are in different locations. As an overview, around March 13th, our governor provided an executive order that provides our school district with all of the funding that they need to continue to support our students, that gives the flexibility in our calendar to ensure that our students can be served through distance learning. Those resources provided by the governor and provided by our state legislature also make sure that we can continue to support important functions that schools play for our kids, that our kids can get a meal at school. And in some cases, we have students who need 3 meals a day and get it through our free and reduced lunch programs, that our schools and our staff are providing child care to many who are healthcare providers and first responders who are helping on the front lines to deliver care to those who need it. I want to say a heartfelt thank you to all of our students, our parents and families, our educators, to everyone for your resilience, for continuing to go the effort that it takes to get through in these tough times. I know that it's not easy, but I believe that we can and that we will achieve in California. The California Department of Education has, since March 13th, provided guidance every week to California's 1,000 school districts to give guidance on how to do all the things that I've said, on distance learning, on providing meals, on child care, on dealing with issues on how our employees work in our schools. And I'm proud of the efforts that my team, the California Department of Education, the governor's office, and many have played together to address how labor and management work together in our schools. We have to all be in for California students, and I'm proud of the framework that we've helped to create that guides the conversation for labor and management and how we serve our students. Every week, the California Department of Education will continue to provide training on how to provide distance learning. This is new for many of us, but not for all of us. This is the model that is taking place throughout all of our schools, not just in California, but for many throughout our country. We simply cannot give up on California kids. And I'm proud to tell you that we can ensure that California students will be able to graduate high school in spite of the challenges that we're facing on the campuses where students attend. I want to thank our partners in higher education who've worked closely with our K-12 schools to make sure that our seniors will be able to graduate. There's been flexibility on every front that you can imagine. Our seniors are able to take their AP exams at home. All of our higher education institutions have suspended the SAT as a condition for admission into our schools. Our school districts are providing flexible grading, in some cases a pass, not pass framework for how students will be graded. And all of our institutions of higher education have accepted that as part of the conditions for admissions into our university systems, our UCs, our CSUs, and our private institutions in California. And so while it's difficult, we will do the hard work to continue providing a great and quality education to each and every one of our students. Some of our students have access to devices and internet, but many of them don't. And so we know we have to keep working to ensure that we close these digital divides that have existed in some cases for decades. The California Department of Education is working with the governor's office and many in the technology sector to get devices and internet access to many of our students. We want to invite those of you who are interested in making a donation to do so. And we want to encourage you, if you're interested in supporting, providing technology for our students, to go to donatech@cde.ca.gov. Simply put, we think that every student should have a computer and every student should have access to the internet. But there are places in our state where students cannot get access to the internet because of infrastructure barriers that have existed. Our team is working fast to work through those challenges. And as we speak, we are working to get more than 150,000 devices into school districts and into the hands of our students. Our team has surveyed nearly every one of our 1,000 school districts to find out what their technology needs are. And I want to thank those who've worked with us to help make this happen. And we are moving quickly to provide a device to students who need and want one. But we need your help to do so. It is an opportunity to help change a lifetime. And it's an opportunity that is a tax-deductible opportunity for companies that may choose to help. We know that California's tech sector is stronger than anywhere in the world. That's why this past week we convened an emergency meeting of California's tech sector and our tech advisory groups and our tech associations to talk about companies that would like to make a commitment. I'm grateful to Google and others who've stepped up and said that they will make commitments of hotspots for our students to be able to access the internet, who are making Chromebooks and laptops and other devices available to our students. And again, we want to invite anyone who is experiencing or participating in this virtual town hall to also know that you can donate either devices or make donations that will be used to purchase and secure devices at donatech@cde.ca.gov. For the next several weeks, the California Department of Education will work with school districts to provide training on how to provide distance learning. We kicked off a series just last week by focusing on special education and how to deliver special education through distance learning. This week, we will offer 2 additional webinars for educators and parents, for students, for anyone who is interested. The focus will be on special education and on supporting our students who are English learners. Every week, the California Department of Education will provide at least 2 webinars. And we'd like to thank all the teachers who've joined our webinars, who've been on our panels, who've helped to organize and helped us find ways to deliver the message. We'd like to thank the California Teachers Association, the California Federation of Teachers for their work to help us as we put out these webinars. We'd like to also thank the Association of Administrators and California's county superintendents who've helped us to survey our school districts to find out which of them need devices. This is not easy, but our kids are worth it, and it can be done. The California Department of Education is providing standards and guidance on how to ensure that our distance learning has quality in what our students learn. Now, obviously, it's not going to be the way it's always been, and it's not going to be for the same number of minutes that we've seen in a school year. But because we can focus on quality, we can focus on content and students mastering the subject matter and mastering the knowledge. And we're working with teachers and educators to help make sure our distance learning is just that, quality for each and every one of our students. I'm grateful for those teachers and educators and administrators who've come together with the California Department of Education to address the fact that we've always had an equity gap in this country, that we've always had an achievement gap in this country. And our special work group that's focused on closing the achievement gap as it relates to distance learning is focused on strategies to make sure that we can provide quality content for our students, training for our educators, master's level educators, experienced and veteran educators, working with those who have less experience in doing distance learning. It's happening as we speak, and anyone who's interested can join our efforts at any time by emailing covid19@cde.ca.gov. We need your help. We need for us all to be together, because for some students, they may not ever be able to have internet in the immediate time frame. That means that their teacher can provide them with a packet of materials that provides instructions for them in the work that they need to do for their education that they can use for the next few weeks. And so we all need to come together to serve each and every one of our students. We know that this is not easy. We know this is the biggest challenge that we have ever faced. I want to encourage you to continue doing what we must do for social distancing, because we know that with social distancing and washing our hands and maintaining distance, we can flatten the curve and reduce the increase of the spread of the coronavirus. We can literally save lives. I want to thank all of our first responders, our healthcare workers, our grocery workers, all of those who are working hard to make sure that our students are supported in their communities, in their homes, and we've got to do all that we can together to rise to the occasion. It is the biggest challenge that we face, but as it relates to educating our kids, we can and we will achieve success. On behalf of all of our 6.2 million students in this state, I say thank you, and together we will rise. We'll do more together, we're stronger together, and we'll do more for California students. Thank you for being a part of this town hall. I'm happy to take a few of the questions that you all have sent in.
Okay. All right, we have one question coming in. We actually have quite a few coming in, but this one has multiple people asking the same question. How is the California Department of Education helping teachers and families to support and prioritize children's mental and emotional health during this time?
The question is about how we're providing mental health support to our students and our families. It's a very important question. You know, we've heard from our students and from our teachers, they miss the routine of school. Our students miss seeing their teachers, our teachers miss seeing their students, and it adds stress to many of our students. And if you think about it, many of our students receive mental health support during school, and being in a situation where our campuses are closed to students, we know that many of them are going without that support. As we speak, we're working with many of the mental health providers and experts in our state who are mobilizing to support our students. Our mental health providers have found ways that they can support our students also by remote ways and through distance, through telemeetings and other ways we can continue to support our students. And I have to say that we can continue to do this for our special education students who need mental health related supports or other supports like speech. And we're encouraging all of our districts to continue providing these services. And if you have questions, to visit the California Department of Education's guidance and resources for how to do that. I want to thank our mental health providers for continuing to be available to our students, and we want to invite the public to stay tuned for more updates on this. We'll have a webinar later this week on Thursday, focused on delivery of mental health services. That will be this Thursday at 1 p.m. Also on Thursday, we'll have a webinar on distance learning at 12:30 p.m. And also this Thursday at 3 p.m., a webinar on special education specifically geared to supporting parents. So stay tuned for more information on how we provide more supports and more mental health for all of our students.
Another question. What support is being provided for teachers who are now engaging in online teaching, many for the first time?
The question has to do with how we provide support to teachers who are engaging in online learning for the first time. And we're meeting with experts who have literally set quality standards for how online learning is supposed to work and who've seen the gains that online learning can produce. Let me be clear. There is nothing about online learning that can replace the impact of a great teacher. And the only way that online learning and distance learning is going to work in our state is if we continue to support our great teachers. And so for those reasons, we are providing webinars every single week, professional development and training for our teachers. They're led by teachers, supported by teachers, and they have participation by teachers and educators and our great team at the California Department of Education. I'd like to thank the team at the California Department of Education who's leading these webinars on distance learning, on helping us to get waivers from the federal government to ensure that we have flexibility in providing meals to our students, our team who's worked hard to figure out how we can provide IEPs and other resources to students through special education. There's no playbook for this, but we're all coming together to create the knowledge base and the work plan and the ideas and the strategy for how to do it. And I'm grateful to our team at the California Department of Education, to Governor Newsom and his team, to the Office of Emergency Services, to all of the educators who've joined us statewide. And stay tuned, there'll be more training and support for all of our educators in online education and in distance learning in general.
Next question. What strategies are being used to ensure our low-income students have access to Wi-Fi and devices for the current situation? And how can these solutions be put in place for the long term to do away with the digital divide?
As many of you know, the question has to do with how do we provide devices and support for our students, particularly students who come from low-income communities. And as many of you know, we have had a digital divide in this state and in this country for many years. And it's an embarrassment, and we must change that. And as we work through the challenges that this pandemic has really presented us, there's nothing we can do more than ensure that we do everything to give a device to those students who don't have them and who need them. And so I'm grateful to those companies that have stepped up to provide donations of laptops, of Chromebooks, and devices for our students, of those who've come forward to provide devices that will help, like mobile hotspots, to help all of our students. But we need more. Literally, we are moving to provide more than 150,000 devices to students who need one in their home and who need a mobile hotspot. And that's where those of you who are participating in this virtual town hall can help. Anyone can donate a device or make a contribution to donate a device. We're calling on California companies, we're calling on Californians, we're calling on those who know how to innovate to help us here. And if you want to help, the way to do it is to go to donate-tech@cde.ca.gov.
Great. And Mr. Superintendent, what is your message to the class of 2020?
The question is about what's my message to the class of 2020. And this is a place where I've had many conversations with educators and parents. And we understand it's difficult. We understand it's disappointing for those of you who'd hope to be in a graduation procession in May or June. And we know that it is unlikely that our school campuses will reach a point where it'll be safe for our students to return to campus before the end of the school year. Quite frankly, we just don't know when it will be safe enough for our shelters in place and our statewide stay-at-home order to be lifted. And so the best thing that we can do is follow those guidelines, to use maximum social distancing in everything that we do. But let me be clear. We will ensure that our students in the class of 2020 will have the opportunity to graduate. I know it's disappointing that we can't point to when a graduation ceremony can take place, but that's only because we want you to remain safe. And we know that there are many districts that are planning, literally planning virtual graduation ceremonies. Many of our districts are planning to have ceremonies after we receive the all clear to return to campuses. We know that ceremonies are important to mark your accomplishment, but the most important thing that I want to tell you that we know we can deliver on is that it's okay for you to graduate. that you will be able to pursue college or any form of post-secondary education. And I want to commend our students in the class of 2020. I want to commend their families for your perseverance and for sticking to it and for rising to meet this challenge. And to know that the University of California systems, our California state universities, and our private institutions of higher education in the state all have worked with us to say that no member of the class of 2020 will be disadvantaged because of what has happened as it relates to COVID-19, that you will be able to attend, that you will not have to submit an SAT score, that you can meet the A to G requirements on a pass-fail basis. And so while we've paused what we could do on our campuses for our seniors and our other students, the class of 2020 will graduate, and we will celebrate your accomplishments, and you'll be able to continue on to receive your higher education and your post-secondary educational opportunities. So these are all the questions that we're going to take for now. We invite you to continue to send questions in that you have. You can send those questions to covid19@cde.ca.gov. Stay tuned for weekly updates from me and from many of the staff at the California Department of Education. I hope that you will visit the website of the California Department of Education. And for those of you who are able and willing to help us close the digital divide for our students, while we're in a tough moment, we have to seize this moment, and we can use this challenge to end the digital divide now and always. I encourage you to please email us at donatech@cde.ca.gov. Thank you for being a part of this virtual town hall. Thank you for what you're doing for your families in all of California and for our 6.2 million students in our state.